Hi, my name is Nikki Prue, and today I'm going to be going over how to inform you about schizophrenia. In the year 2016, the United States will spend an estimated $251 million towards the research on schizophrenia. That will ultimately go towards the 3.5 million people that have been diagnosed with this mental disorder. Schizo means to split, and phrenia means mind, so schizophrenia means to split the mind. Coming from Jonathan Leo's The Source for Schizophrenia gene, 50% of people diagnosed with schizophrenia haven't received treatment yet. My uncle was in and out of hospitals for over a decade before he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and even now it's harder helping him than it ever has been. Even though there is no cure for schizophrenia, today I'm going to discuss how it works and how to handle it. Along the way, I'll explain some tips for dealing with someone in this difficult situation. First, I'll explain what schizophrenia actually is. So, I'm going to give the definition of actual schizophrenia, like what you would look up online or in Webster's Dictionary. A long-term mental disorder of a type involving a breakdown in the relationship between thought, emotion, and behavior, leading to faulty personality, perception, inappropriate actions, and feelings, withdrawals from reality and personal relationships into fantasy, and delusions, and a sense of mental fragmentation. There are several symptoms associated with schizophrenia. So this is just like if you get the flu. Though, you have symptoms of the flu, fever, nausea, stuff like that. So the symptoms that occur within schizophrenia are behavioral, which is aggression, cognitive, brain, which is delusions, mood, angry a lot, psychological is hallucinations. Speech is incoherent speech, which is basically just babbling on and on about something that they never talk about or used to talk about, and it just doesn't make any sense. Now, I'm going to give you tips on how to deal with each of these actions. So, for behavioral and their aggression, you can place yourself beside the consumer rather than face to face. For cognitive, don't try to rationalize with them. And then we're going to avoid eye contact, protect yourself always, and identify with the person, not against them. Do not try to make yourself understand them, because you're not going to be able to, because you're not them. Do not repeatedly ask them the same question. That just aggravates them and intensifies the episode. And then always stay calm. Why does using these tips help them? It helps them by protecting themselves from self-harm. And actually, in Jonathan Leo's The Search for Schizophrenia gene, states that 10% of those suffering with schizophrenia will commit suicide because of these symptoms are so severe to them. Now we're going to discuss the causes of schizophrenia. There is still no clear direct cause per se for schizophrenia. However, there is speculation that genetics and chemistry play a dominant role in the cause for schizophrenia. First, let's start the discussion with genetics' role in schizophrenia. Genetics is just another word for heredity, meaning that it runs in the family. For example, when you're at a doctor's office filling out paperwork, you're made to answer questions about family history, like, does any family members contain asthma, heart disease, or cancer? Because it's passed down. So before being diagnosed with schizophrenia, if showing multiple symptoms of schizophrenia, and if a close relative like grandfather or even great-grandfather were diagnosed, then a doctor is more likely to do the same. Now let's discuss how chemistry can play a role in causing schizophrenia. People suffering with schizophrenia show that they are also dealing with a chemical imbalance within the brain, mainly a loss of serotonin and dopamine. Both are neurotransmitters within the brain, and they allow each other to send messages back and forth. So the messages are not sending, so the brain is just at a standstill. It cannot tell itself what it's thinking, and it cannot control its actions. So it would make sense, someone who has schizophrenia, to react differently to lights, sound, and people, especially when their brain it's just overloaded on information. It's just overwhelming for one person. Now let's discuss treatments for schizophrenia and cures, if any. Treatments for schizophrenia vary. There are self-help groups, provides ongoing support for patients, help them relate to people suffering with the same disease. There are psychosocial rehabilitation programs that help people with relaxing skills like shopping, cleaning, and stress management, which is very important with schizophrenia. There are housing programs, a 24-hour supervised living support, which is very helpful, and it just keeps like the normal day-to-day. There's therapy and counseling, which is pretty much needed in schizophrenia. It's a talk therapy for patients and their families, because families are always wanting to be involved in schizophrenia, which is normal. There are crisis centers for any time that there's a bad manic episode that they have. It's a 24-hour hotline for patients and families. Now, when it comes to cures for schizophrenia, there isn't any yet. Doctors don't know what to do yet. So today we've learned what schizophrenia originally comes from and how many people suffer with this mental disease. We discussed the symptoms of schizophrenia and tips on how to actively deal with them. We learned the cause of schizophrenia and that there is no cure at this time. That Jonathan Lee, the author of The Search for Schizophrenia, understands the need for the cure and explains the need facts about schizophrenia. 200,000 people, he explains, are going to be diagnosed with this treacherous disease this year. It's just sad. We have no answer for them. Be aware and be prepared when dealing with someone with this horrific disease. It's not the end of the world, though. Thank you.